It is an absolutely freezing, well, yeah, it's pretty cold. Freezing morning. But for some reason I decided today is the day that I show you these. Look how many there are. So, my absolute goddess, Glennis, did this for us. These are bitumen painted sleepers. And bitumen paint is exactly what it sounds like it is. Bitumen, so fossil fuels made paint, which doesn't sound like it sits well with me, but excuse my coughing. It's I cough when it gets cold. This will mean that these sleepers pretty much last forever. So that was our intention with using that paint. I think if we think about the way that we use fossil fuels, you know what, this might not be the right answer, but this is what we did think this through. We didn't just like go and use bitumen paint just for the sake of it. We thought about it. My sleepers in my veggie garden at home have been there for 11 years and they're only just starting to rot. Excuse me. So the idea with those, they could really last forever if once we drill into them and we put bolts in, etc., and seal those holes, they will last a very, very long time, which is sustainable. I'll explain the reason that we're doing that in a sec, but look, ready for it? That doesn't look like much, but that is my first ever passion fruit. So if we come down here, and my berries, I always talk as if it's mine. This is not. This is our berries. And if we go along, I saw a couple the other day. There they are. Ooh, we're gonna have to go under for you to see. Raspberries. We've been eating, honestly, punnets and punnets of these all autumn. These are autumn raspberries. And they are absolutely delicious. Now these plants which run all the way along here and all the way along here, look how big they are. We planted those in August last year. And I kid you not, oh, that raspberry. 7:30 in the morning, fresh raspberry. Those plants were, I'm trying to find a comparison, to be honest. I can't. They were like this big in these tiny little pots. Look at them. Absolutely prolific. Anyway, here we go. Trying to do like camera changes here. We're at the bottom of a valley. Like the bottom. This house and probably the house next door are like the very, very bottom. And last year was a drought year, so we didn't really have a problem. And then this year we've had more rain in the start of this year than in the entire of last year. So it got a little bit wet. In fact, it got so wet that I lost a lot of plants because they were just like sitting in water. All here were our eggplants. And you can see, excuse my nose, it's the cold. Look at that. It's just like absolute mud pie. So which is a pump. So when the water fills in here, it gets pumped all the way down, which we will fix all of this up. It's kind of in an experiment phase. But for the moment, it goes all the way down. Oh, I think he's changed it. But Alex was pumping the water back into here for the ducks to splash it all out. All the water would run back down and it would just do this loop. Yes, they thought it was very funny. They absolutely loved it. So having a waterlogged garden is probably going to be a reality in having a drought garden as well. That's climate change for you. Increased drought, increased flooding rains. So, God, it's so real with me sniffing, isn't it? God, don't you love a real YouTube video? With like pimples and everything, like no makeup. This is me. So we're at the bottom of the hill. We lose a lot of our topsoil because like the beds are just like flush with the path pretty much. So those bitumen painted sleepers are to get our plants off the ground. And when we were getting the sleepers, Glennis said, well, why don't we put bitumen paint on them? I was like, no, that doesn't sit well with me. That's like fossil fuels. Like, why on earth would we do that? My sleepers are fine. And then we looked into it, and then I thought about it more, and because we got all those 45-degree days, which pretty much fry everything in the garden, literally cook the plants. And we had 6 of those days. So battling against that in summer, and then having black sleepers in the entire garden, I was like, I'm gonna have no plants at all. And then I thought about it more. Those 6 days, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put pipe down the sides of the sleepers so that we can put sticks in, so that we can put shade cloths over everything. So that deals with the heat, and we have a drip system, and we will have ways of keeping things cool. So that's like the 6 45-degree days in the year, so we can put shade cloths up. And it was really hard this year because, like, how do you put a shade cloth on flat ground? You can't. So there's that. And then what that means, well, hopefully, my theory, because this is just theory at the moment, my theory is that the black paint will absorb the heat. Black absorbs heat. Absorb heat so that we have an extended growing season into winter, because the soil will be warmer, and we have an earlier season in spring. And that whole extra time into winter, and that whole extra time coming into spring, is a massive gain in terms of the amount of food you can grow, that I think it'll be worth the effort of putting up shade cloths on the hot days to protect the plants from the black absorbing the heat. I'm actually really excited. It's a complete experiment, and it's not something we can go back on because the sleepers are painted, and that was a significant investment. So God help me if that doesn't work and I can't protect my plants. For the moment, I am optimistic, and I'm very excited, but it just means that we will be digging all of this up. I don't actually know how it's going to work, but we'll be digging all of it up, and I can't plant anything here, at least in these beds, this winter, which is fine. Winter's a boring season in terms of growing, and that's an ignorant comment because it doesn't have to be, but it is. The only plants I've got in this garden, ugh, my nose, it's freezing out here. Lucky I got my beanie. The only planting, God, let's look at them again. Woo! Apart from the practical logistics of all this, how cool is the black? Pretty like sleek, sexy. It's really a reflection of me. Daggiest person on the planet. No, the only planting I've got is, let's flip the camera, is this garden. So this is right beside our back door. And let's get a nice shot of it, shall we? Ta-da! Greenhouse. bees, I kid you not. Look how I've perched them. Ugh. Pea straw for mulching. Anyway, it's not a very big bed. It's probably the amount of space I've got at my mum's, but in it we've got leftover basil, carrots, coriander, spring onions, kale, dill, more spring onions, silver beet, yeah, parsley, house plants that I was killing on the inside, so I brought them outside. Of course, I'm the worst inside plant person. Different type of kale, pak choi, which is actually going to seed, so I really just don't think this was the time to plant it, but somebody gave them to us. And then we've got up the back here strawberries, and then we've got all the garlic. Look at all that garlic already coming up. Beautiful. But you can see this, when it rains, this is just a pool of water. The water goes absolutely nowhere. So, and like, look at the ground. It's just the purest of mud. Now, around here, that's because of the duckies. But in general, we just sit in water, and this fig tree hates it. Anyway, and then in here, I actually don't even know if they're here, but there's one. That's a leek. No, that's a lie, that's a grass. Well, that's a shame. I think. Is that a grass or is that a leek? No, that's a grass. I think then, oh no, there's 1, 2. I think I've lost them. As in, I think I've killed them. There's supposed to be leeks in this bed. Just looks like grass, doesn't it? Looks like crap. But these trenches for the leeks just fill with water, so I don't think we're going to get any leeks, which is a shame, but that's the whole point of putting in all those sleepers. And then last thing, love doing this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. No, 4. Is this locked? It is. Oh, hello. Oh, wow. They've gotten way bigger in the last few days. Broccoli, onions, which look a bit mutant. Chives. What else have I got? Chevril, cabbage, coriander. Never enough coriander. But I'm going to plant them all at home. We were going to plant them here, and then we decided to do the sleepers. So the plan is to give you a full walkthrough of the garden, what we've done so far, where we're going, which I've done on blog posts, but it's kind of nicer if we go for a walk. So I'm going to do that, but that was a little explanation of pretty much the biggest project we've done here so far, which is the sleepers. So that's what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks, and coronavirus lockdown has given us a lot of time to do that sort of stuff. So yeah. Oh, you can't see it. A lot of foggy breath here. I'll keep you updated on how this all looks.